Hey everybody, it's Jim here, and yes, this is a very strange guitar for me to be holding in my hands. This is a 1989 Charvel, neck through body, active pickups, Floyd Rose. Not something you would normally associate me with playing. However, I'll explain to you how I ended up with this guitar, why I ended up with this guitar after we hear what it sounds like, because I know that's the first thing on your mind. I didn't have a whole ton of time to play this, and I actually did it all into the box directly using the Dream and then the Soldano for a little bit of dirt. So I just wanted to get a baseline of tones. Let's hear them now. All right, I did not have, and I do not have a lot of time remaining with this guitar. I have to turn around and give it back to the shop that provided this to me. But as soon as I was done fixing this guitar up, I reassembled it from scratch. We'll get into that into a second. I plugged it right into the computer. I didn't have time to even set up the amp or anything like that. I had 20 minutes, so not exactly my best playing, but it gives you a baseline, and there are a few observations and some things about this model before we get into the other stuff that I'd like to go over in a quick, like 35-second review here. I do enjoy the fact that the Floyd Rose is very underrated in a sense. It's a pain in the ass to set up. There's no way around it. But I do like playing this thing clean because it gives me kind of like in between a Stratocaster and a Jazzmaster vibrato system to it. It actually tastefully works pretty decently for music like that. It's not something you would often associate with a guitar like this. You immediately think of hair metal and stuff like that. But me, I'm not a shredder, so I did have fun playing with this. I thought that the individual single coil pickups sounded really good for what they are, considering that these are active electronics in them. And yeah, the humbucker, it screams. If you're somebody who wants to play that kind of metal music, fantastic. Build quality, amazing, made in Japan. It's got a nice thin neck to it, but it's not as thin as one of the newer kind of ESP LTDs that have the thin U on them. This one definitely has a little bit more heft to it. But overall, really cool guitar, and I'm really happy that I got to play this thing. So how did I get this and why? I've been looking around for other ways to kind of make a few bucks here and there. I'm a hustler. It's kind of what you have to be if you're going to try and make a living doing music. I went into a pawn shop and I got to talking to them about a few other things. Once the lady realized that I kind of knew my stuff, she asked me what I thought about this guitar. You're going to be seeing what this guitar looked like when she ended up giving it to me. It was completely disassembled, covered in stickers, missing all sorts of parts needed, but fortunately for us, and fortunately for them rather, I have so many spare parts in my little work area that I knew I had everything I needed to get this thing up and going again. I gave her a quote, filled it out. She said, take it home. We'll see how you did. So I'm going to be bringing this thing on back. Hopefully they are super excited about it because of Floyd Rose, especially for somebody that doesn't work on guitars, just the sight of all the parts and all that, trying to get it back together, not fun. So maybe this will make it a little bit easier for them to move this thing. Obviously, I polished all the frets, did all that fun stuff to it. Guitar is pretty cool. If you're somebody who likes these kinds of guitars, I think that a Model 5, and it's a little bit different from the Model 6, and I learned this because the Model 5 does have the 3 knobs here, and it's missing 3 little mini toggle switches. The Model 6s come with those. Also, this does look like a Floyd Rose, and I've said Floyd Rose a few times. This is not an official Floyd Rose. This is the Jackson version of it, and these pickups are also stamped Jackson because it's a collaboration thing at that time. They weren't too purely individual brands, so to speak. But assuming this goes well, and I have no reason to believe it's not going to because I have another guitar already lined up to bring home after this one to do some work and diagnosis on, I think this is going to be an awesome way to get out of the modern consumerism of brand new guitar this, new release that, and getting in kind of off the beaten path instruments like this one, maybe an amp here or there, although I'm not one to service amplifiers, but if I see a good enough deal on one, maybe I'll just try it or ask if I could borrow it for the night just to make a demo on it or something like that. I don't know, I think this is fun, and if you guys are interested in watching when I have to actually repair or reassemble guitars like this, I skipped it on this one because it had been maybe 6-7 years since the last time I did a Floyd Rose style kind of work from scratch, because as you would have seen in the pictures, this was not assembled whatsoever. When a Floyd Rose already has strings on it, it's very easy to restring the thing from there, but when you're doing it from scratch, oh my god, it is very, very time consuming. I figured I would spare you guys from any of that stuff, but I did take a few pictures in case you were interested in a few tips, specifically using the back plate and a cloth underneath to have this pushed up, the actual bridge itself, so you'd have access to the little things that adjust the actual blocks, which will let you get the strings in it and keep things kind of at a general height that you want it to be while you're stringing the instrument and starting off with getting this thing tuned up and ready to go. However, the next guitar that I get from them, you probably won't be seeing until next week because I do want to make a video for Phoenix Pro for tomorrow. I'm actually going to try and make sure that I really get that done and get that done well because they're a good company to me. They have treated me very well and I feel like I owe them another video. So I'm going to work on that. Thursday is going to be the live stream. Friday, we're going to be talking about the case for the Les Pauls. And then over the weekend, finally, we're going to be going over the Universal Audio Dream. Have more updates, but I don't want to kind of overstimulate your brains. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I know it's kind of all over the place, but that's how this guitar channel operates. And I'll see you on the next video. Take it easy, everybody.